I want to take a photograph.
He has to read it off.
He has to read it.
I have to read it.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Thank you everyone for coming to celebrate my grandmother, beloved wife, and mother's disappearance. It means a lot. I'm going to read a poem right now that I wrote in celebration and memory of her. O mother, whose love in nature is so grand, you raised both my father and I with such a sweet, nurturing, and gentle hand. Your unconditional love made me both and my father a man. I remember you teaching me how to love myself and sing. Words cannot express how much happiness you would bring. I would never have been born if this queen didn't accept my grandpa's ring. You are the great mother, the unconditional lover. You would spoil me with your home-cooked supper, which had the most delicious taste. I was mesmerized by your charm, intellect, and grace. You are an angel, and nothing but sweet love and happiness showed on your beautiful face. Now that you're gone, I am sad, yet happy that you're in a better place. I know that we all have to pass away, but every day I pray that I can return to my childhood so I can relive those days where we would love and play. You were so bright and warm, like the sunshine's rays. You knew how to control me when I was naughty, because love and wisdom is what you brought me. I cannot begin to describe the lessons that you taught me. You taught me that the deepest love is service to your family. You are a queen who was so humble, and you didn't want to be called a majesty. When I heard you got sick and passed away, it was beyond a tragedy. I was upset in agony. But I know that God is taking care of you in his heavenly galaxy. I will see you again, my dear grandmom and best friend. Our love for each other will never end. You'll always be in my heart, just like you were in my life from the very start. I was just a child of yours, and as an unconditionally loving mother, you acted and played well your part. O mother, whose love in nature is so grand, please bless me once more with your graceful and nurturing hand, so I can be raised into a better man. You will always be a priceless treasure, because your love, intellect, and grace can't be measured. I will love you always. Love your grandson, Rishi.
My name is Lalita. It's my grandfather and grandmother gave me the name of. As we're going to go down this line and say a small thing about Balma and then read one of our favorite poems by Rudyard Kipling. I never really had the chance to know her so well. She developed Alzheimer's at a very young age, but I can see how graceful and how much of a wonderful woman she was by everything she has done and conducted. I know that I owe her and my grandfather huge thanks. Our family wouldn't be here in North America if it wasn't for this lady. Like, absolutely. And we're just looking at the pictures over there, and like for her to get such an education in the 1940s and become a PhD and do everything she did as a woman in her time period was just astonishing and amazing and inspiring out of everything. I owe her huge thanks and have a deep understanding and huge place in my heart for this ladies. I know I wouldn't be where I am or have all of the opportunities that I have today if it wasn't for her.
Hi, my name is Sirisha.
my mom and dad. My mom's Mira, and like Gopi, I didn't really get to know her very well. Um,
Just mirroring what City said, it was hard. She was robbed of her potential with Alzheimer's, but up till the day she passed, she's always been just a symbol of just grace and love. And I really do. I miss her and the memories that she gave us as children. And growing up and visiting Ottawa, we'd learn how to sing Carnatic music from her. I remember Thapa would just sit and just stand and watch over us as she would teach us, and making sure that none of us would be mischievous. He'd spank us if we were, because Amama was too nice to do. Just heart. Our heart is with her always. She taught us so much and was just so graceful. And we are who we are because of her and the sacrifices she made.
Just to echo what Priyanka said, my earliest memories with Amama was her teaching us Carnatic music and sharing the joy of music that she with us. And we were too young and immature to really take full advantage of it at that time. But I do feel like I remember a lot. I remember some of the songs by heart that she taught us. I think she's one of the most, like I said, she developed Alzheimer's when we were pretty young, when I was 8. So my memories of her before Alzheimer's are fairly scant. But one of the pivotal remembrances I have that really left an indelible mark in my memory was when she was early diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and she couldn't write her name and she started crying, and that was just really hard for me because she was a gifted, talented scholar, botanist, researcher, professor, who had published a lot within and made huge advances to the field of botany in regards to her publications, and she couldn't write her name anymore. And she's a role model to me personally. Given her resilience and her strength and her intellect and her compassion and her humility, being able to become the woman she was in a time period that wouldn't necessarily support that in a woman. She fought and fought and fought, and she fought in every aspect of her life until the day she died. She's the most resilient person I know. As an aspiring clinician researcher myself within the sciences, she'll always be in my heart. She'll always be a key motive, inspiration for pushing me through my career.
I just wanted to say, like Gopi had mentioned, we were both born the same year that she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So I never really got a chance to know her. But I've had a really strong connection to her, nonetheless. We were born a day apart, so I've always felt a very strong connection that way. When I was born, my parents had a name list for me, and Amama had a name list, and they picked Sirisha because it was on both of their lists, so another strong, deep connection with her. But I never got a chance to talk to her, but I feel like communication like transcends that type of like normal way. So whenever we visited Tata and Mama and Tata, I always spend so much time with her. So even though I never talked to her, it felt very real. I enjoyed combing her hair, French braiding it, and then riding in her wheelchair too. And meeting all the caretakers who were so loving and wonderful. It's just so hard to put into words how much of an effect she's had on my life. Someone that I think about daily, and in general, our family is so wonderful. Like, I love on my pastime, sometimes I Google Tata's name and Tata's name and Amama's name, and I have so much pride for our family because there's just such a long list of accomplishments to each of their academic and legacies, and Amama was no different. There's not much else to say. It's just I love her so much, and she'll always be with us. Yeah.
My mother, all through the years of her university career, in her office, right dead center against the wall on her table, was a poem that she absolutely adored. And it's the poem "If" by Rudyard Kipling. So since it was there and I remember it there, I can't remember her office without seeing this big banner and this poem "If." So I thought it would be wonderful if the children could read that poem because it symbolized a lot of what she believed.
Here is "If" by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise.
If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn out tools.
If you can make one heap of all of your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew, and serve your turn long after they're gone. And so hold on when there's nothing in you, except the will which says to them, hold on.
If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and, which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Wrote something that he wanted me to communicate on his behalf, because he, and so I just wanted to share my Tata's words to even though by tradition this is not a time to engage in eulogies and speeches, as a hyphenated Canadian, I would make an exception. I will be brief due to my age and consequent age-related problems. I leave it to my children, grandchildren, and other family members to eulogize my dear wife's nature, talents, and achievements, which are numerous. I want to speak about 3 people who have made a huge difference in our married lives. When my wife and I had to leave our 2 young children, Meera and Mohan, back in India to pursue our studies in Canada, my cousin, Dr. Purushottam, unhesitatingly demanded us to leave them with him and his wife Indira, who was also my wife's sister. This gave us an opportunity to complete our doctorates at the University of Toronto. The second milestone is when my PhD supervisor, the great Dr. L.M. Pigeon, took us both under his wing and treated us with such kindness and affection. It is he who helped us to settle and work in Canada. The third milestone is Shamala's long-drawn illness. My youngest daughter, Tara, took care of her day and night for 24 years until the last minute of Shamala's life. She leaves behind 4 children, Meera, Mohan, Anita and Tara, and 5 grandchildren, Dr. Anjali Variganda, Renika Variganda, Sirisha Variganda, Nandan Ashtakala, and Lalita Ashtakala. I am forever grateful to my son-in-law, Sri Ramarao Variganda, for his relentless help and brilliant organizational skills in arranging this service today.
She was there. And then the caregivers, especially I met Tammy, and I've got to know Tammy very well, and I just thank you so much, thank you. And then friends from Montreal, some of them couldn't be here, but we have Lakshmi, who represents, I guess, all of the Montreal crowd. Grew up with my cousins, my dear, dear cousins, Venka and Meena. Aruna couldn't be here. Venka and Meena grew up with us in Montreal, and we have, it was always with 4 of us and then the 3, so it was 7. And Christmases were wonderful because we would be meeting at our house one day, at their house, and then after we were married, they'd be meeting at our house. So it was just a gala fest of, fun activities and games, board games. And Kishore and Babe. Kishore is our friend also from Montreal days, and Babe just came in. So thank you. We have friends from all over, and many people got back to us. So I'm just reading different aspects. You know some aspects of my mother, so I'm just going to pick up a few, and this is out there for you to read. So Vijaya Suvarna, who is a friend of ours from Montreal, wrote, "We will always cherish the days we used to gather for Ugadi practices and how Shamala Garu used to guide us. She has been inspirational to all, and especially to our family, giving us guidance in so many aspects. May she reach the abode of God."
Mother was a unique person with a unique quality. She had soul beauty, and one's impression of a conversation stayed on fresh and vibrant in one's memory. Remember that.
And then there were many kids that she trained for Ugadi practices. She taught music. So she impacted kids on, so many children. And this is from one of them. "So sorry, deepest condolences to you all. Your mother holds a special place in our hearts. She was a gentle soul who took the time to talk to us at every gathering, play practice, function. Maithili Annam Raju."
I'm sorry to hear that Shamlanti passed away. Deepest condolences to your family. My sister Prabha Kumar and I always remember the Adhavanam Chalamalarai. Your mother taught us. She was a wonderful lady, always smiling and kind.
And then we got this last one. Our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. Your mother was a gentle, kind soul and role model for so many of us in the community. We will keep her memories close to us. May she rest peacefully. Usha Sheshadri Creedon. And in addition to that, she was a wonderful cook. So here's somebody who wrote about that. She was a wonderful cook too. I ate my first Bengali sweets when I was 5 or so, made by her. I still remember the way she kneaded the paneer gently. An epitome of patience. She will be missed dearly. Shambhavi Settler. So these are a few.
I'm usually not tied to my notes when I do my lectures. So this is one opportunity when this one occasion when I have to look down at my words. But in a week when this society remembers those who remember those with great public fanfare who engaged in the violence of warfare, we are gathered here today to celebrate the life of a person whose profound kindness, patience, and sacrifices for others truly define heroism. It is not only my mother's great deeds that made her my hero, but also, ironically, her needs. Feeding, bathing, toileting, clothing, talking with her, joking with her. My mother changed me forever by the opportunity I got to take care of her. Joking was the best. One of the last jokes I shared with her was when a certain presidential candidate came to office. I told her about his mischievous exploits, and I saw the eyebrow go up. The law, which is what I know, is often used to take away people's liberty. And for me, totally dedicating myself to the service of another human being was the most liberating experience. It taught me the difference between sympathy, which is essentially feeling pity for, and empathy, which is feeling along with. When I learned to feel what my mother felt, it made me her most effective advocate. Even in the face of relentless attitudes that somehow Alzheimer's made her clueless as to what was going around her, that she didn't understand a word what other people said, she understood every word. She felt every emotion around her, including in that hospital room when the doctors were prepared to write her off the moment she walked through the door. She beat those expectations twice before in her life, but this one time, she just ran out of the energy to beat the system. Some law will change those who tried to beat my mother down, at least by changing their conscience. My experience has made me free, and my mother will always be alive for me, giving me the strength to not be bound by nor submit weakly to negative expectations. She always was a positive, gentle light in the world. She'll be that beacon for me till the day I end up in a casket too, and I hope she's that light for all of you in this room that you'll carry home with you today. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The bond between mother and children can never be broken, so I want to say something to my mom. Mom, I know that you're where we are, you're listening to us, and you're, we still have that connection, and I want to thank you for being such a wonderful, kind, and sweet, loving mother. Despite your gentleness and your softness, you still are the glue that keeps the family together. Thank you, Mom, for taking care of me when I was young and giving me guidance and an example, which I hope I can follow despite all the difficulties that you went through in your life, you never said anything harsh, or you never got angry about anything. And it's an example to everyone of what a great soul you are. Mom, thank you so much, and I hope that I can be at least a bit of what you wanted me to be. Thank you, Mom. Thank you.
She had no memory,
How are
couldn't
the children?
memorize anything,
How
or
are the children?
that she was gone. But still, to the very day that she died, like on her hospital bed, she was in tears when she saw my father in the hospital. Something to say about memory. And one of my first memories of her, without even really knowing her, is when she could barely walk, she couldn't talk, she couldn't feed herself or do any of these, but that she grabbed my arm with shaking hands and walked all the way across the room, holding onto my arm with the helmet on her head. And she stopped, turned around, and pointed to a wall of a picture of my brother and I when we were just babies, and smiled. And that is a very powerful moment for me. Even though she was, labeled brain dead, that was, she wasn't, she still knew. So if she was able to do that, know that, I still think there's a lot of research that should be done on Alzheimer's and should be continued to be executed. Well, that's it. Yep.
I'm not eloquent like the rest of you, but she was my aunt, but really she felt like a grandmother. Probably because of the age difference. And yeah, I have a lot of good memories of her, of those good times at your house, those chum-chums you used to make.
She was a great cook.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna miss her, but in some ways I feel like I lost her, not this weekend, but many years ago. And that's the disease. But yeah, I'll miss her.
I live next door to Mr. and Mrs. Ashtakala at Terra, and we've lived there together for 10 years. We've moved near their new homes, and they're wonderful neighbors, and I loved and enjoyed so much coming to visit them. And we helped one another, and my husband and I used to have a little dog that Mrs. Ashtakala just adored, and he would occasionally get so excited to see her, he would rush into the front door. And it was like, Sarah and I were talking about that, it was like havoc, because, he was rushing and wanting to jump on her, and she was, reaching for him, and we're trying to get him on his leash, and anyway, it was quite comical, but we have to say we will miss her dearly. Our windows were side by side, and I would always take a glance before bedtime to see Tara and her mom together and her dad, and just want to say what a lovely lady she was and what a pleasure it was for us to have known her.
Thank you so much.
Is Rama and the eldest son-in-law for Dr. S Ashtakala. Everyone has spoken so well and brought out in an excellent summarization, an epitome of love, affection, simplicity, humility. As a son-in-law, one thing that we shared is so common is the mad passion for music. They used to host lots of music events. Their house was always patronizing artists from India. And so I again got a chance during my roughly around 33 years of journey and knowing her, I dedicated one small song which we used to perform at home with our friends in the garage, on the basement, sorry, garage we say in California, basement. So this is actually a great tribute to mother, and it talks about incredibly about what she goes through in terms of, regardless of her difficulties, what she comes across. But she's always full of smile, regardless of the pain and suffering, and her expectations are minimum. That's a greatness of mother, so much so in Vedas, mother is always given the highest status. Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, and Atithi Devo Bhava. So I bow in all humility my wonderful 33 years and then years of memory which we'll always cherish, and as a proud son-in-law. There's one song that says, oh mother, you're such a wonderful lady. What an incredible tolerance and patience you have. Everything summarized in the song is so powerful. Your heart is like a part full, is always full for us. There's no match for you. If there are any times when there are problems and difficulties, you'll always have the twitch of a smile with you. Always, you never let your kids know about it. You just bear it all for yourself and make look everything so good. It's natural when the son grows up, and then people will say the expansions, total and everyone. Still, your expectations are very least. You are always outpouring your love, and you never anticipate anything. That's your greatness. So this is a small song that we have sung together. It's shared in our musical exchanges. So I want to share these wonderful moments. ఎంత మంచిదానవో అమ్మా, ఎంత మంచిదానవో అమ్మా, నీదెంత వింత విధానమే అమ్మా, అమ్మా ఎంత మంచిదానవో అమ్మా, నీదు మనసే నిండుకుండా నీదు ఓరిమి భూమి ఓరిమి, నీదు పడవడి మేళ పరవడి నీకు నీవే సాటి తల్లి, నీకు నీవే సాటి తల్లి, తల్లి ఎంత మంచిదానవో అమ్మా, ముంచుకొస్తే కష్టమొస్తే మెలక నవ్వులు మరచిపోవు, ముంచుకొస్తే కష్టమొస్తే మెలక నవ్వులు మరచిపోవు, చెడుపు చేసే కొడుకులున్న కడుపు తీపికి హద్దు లేదమ్మా, చెడుపు చేసే కొడుకులున్నా కడుపు తీపికి హద్దు లేదమ్మా, కడుపు తీపికి హద్దు లేదమ్మా. అమ్మా ఎంత మంచిదాన ఓ అమ్మా, కొడుకు పెరిగి కోడలొస్తే కడకు సుఖపడవచ్చు ననుకో. కొడుకు పెరిగి కోడలొస్తే కడకు సుఖపడవచ్చు ననుకో. తల్లులెవరికి తప్పని స్థితి ధైర్యమే నీ ఘనత ఓ తల్లి. తల్లులెవరికి తప్పని స్థితి ధైర్యమే నీ ఘనత